Hello you guys, Wayne from 101 Animation. This video is more detail about the exposure sheet. My first one was the overall concept of the exposure sheet. I've had a lot of emails that are asking me what is the columns and what do they mean. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a series of these, probably like 3 more. But on this one, we're just going to talk about the columns. We're going to talk about mainly in here, this area here. These are all the levels, same as your timeline in digital. On this one, what I want you to understand, one of the questions I had is why did I come over to one of the levels and I just chose number 6. We got 1 through 6 here. I can use those levels for anything I want. When I come in and I put in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and so on throughout here, I'm just putting this in there because it makes it easier for me as I'm doing the drawings and I'm figuring everything out. I do this first and I do them all on odd numbers because that is basically what we do. We try to think starting frame number 1, which is right here, and we go through in odd numbers. Put these all down. Let me just finish this off. Okay, so I've finished all these off. All they are, we got the frame numbers over here. Yes, I could use these numbers. They correspond with the numbers I just wrote down, but I'm putting all these numbers down, and what that means is I got everything on 2s. And 2s means when you're animating and you got a normal action or a slower to normal action or a very slow action, you just do one drawing per 2 frames, and that's what this means. So this is all on 2s right there. So don't worry about this. This will just help you out. This is what lets me know where these all fall. And then when I get the animation and I get a scene, and I have a scene that has some fast action and then some slow action. Over here, there will be some notes from the director about what's going on in the scene. And this is where the director writes in the notes, right there. And the director says from frame 1 to, let's say, frame 18, a character jumps into the air and then lands back down. And then the character will slowly walk off screen right. From this area here, we'll say down to frame 42. And that's where the director. So the director, I get the X sheet and here's all the information. And have the character do all the acting within this area. And then right here, we're going to say there'll be a line like this, and then the scene cuts right there on frame 42. So I know when I got the scene, I know that all of this is the action that's happening. Now, the character is jumping up and down, up in this area from frame 1, right there, down to frame 17. And all that means, this is the area where I know that this action of the character jumping up and down is going to happen. And I know that that action is fast. It's going to be boink, 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 boink. She's moving fast. And so what I'll do, and we're just going to look at, here's our BG background. That is, don't worry about that right now. It just means look at the first video and I explain what all the different layers do. But I'm going to use this column right here, column number 1, and this is where I'm going to do all my animation of the character. So I know that if the character is jumping up and down quickly from frame 1 down to frame 17, I'm going to really have to make that 18. I'm going to put it all on ones. That means ones you use again for the fast action. So when I animate this, I'm going to do all my animation of the character. When I'm done doing the animation, all these drawings will fall right in here. So we'll just call this the C level, meaning character level. So right there, after I do all my animation, I gotta fill this in on ones. I'm gonna do every drawing. So this is gonna be C1, C2, all on ones. And let me zoom in here. Okay, so all of these right there, all of these have been, I animated all these. I put them all on ones because it's a fast action. But then I know at this point on 19, frame 19, right there, I don't need to put everything on ones because it's going to be a slow walk. It's going to be a normal walk. You can put all your animation on ones. Understand that. Richard Williams did everything on ones. He believed that ones was the only way to do it. Most places they'll do it on ones and twos for full animation, for full feature type of animation. So from that point, I'm going to have the character, he starts to walk off, and here's 19, and then I'm just going to put all of these, and it's easier for me because I got all these numbers in here, and it's easier for me just for organization. It's easier for me to see exactly what frame I'm on. So I got all of them on odd numbers, which is going to bring me right back to twos. So it's going to be a slow walk. I do all the animation on twos, meaning each drawing is going to be shot for 2 frames of film. I got a lot of comments, in YouTube of people not understanding this. And actually, that's it. I'm done. I went too far. Okay, that's it. How do I know this? Because I should have done that in red. I'll show you again. I know this because on the X sheet, it shows me this is where the scene cuts. So when we take a look at this, and I've done all my animation, the camera department is going to know exactly what frame. When the camera department gets your animation, gets the whole scene with background and everything, all they do is follow this X sheet. And this is their blueprint. This describes to them exactly what to do. Camera department, back in the old days, they weren't animators. They were technicians that understood how to put all the levels at different moments where they correspond with each other. But right now we just got the one level. So again, what I want you to understand is, let me go blue there, is that all these drawings from frame 1 down to frame 19 are all done on ones. I'll draw the blue line there, and then from there, it all goes to twos. So ones all through there with that blue line coming from there down to there, and then it's twos going from frame 19 down to frame 41. All ones and twos. Let me just make this clear again. All ones and twos means is if you made a drawing for each frame of film, or if you made a drawing for every 2 frames of film. This is basically the standard. It will be up to you if you want to make everything on ones. I will tell you this, that it is more fluid if you put everything on ones. Some people love that look. Me personally, I like it to be mixed up. Sometimes I'll even hold a frame for 4 frames just to break it up. It gives a little texture in your animation. But we'll get into that later. But for right now, just understand that this is all it means. Is just this column here was just me to put it down before I ever start animating. I just put all these down. Then over here, I do my animation, but I gotta make sure it corresponds with what the director wanted. So I gotta make sure that it does, and it hits on those frames just like you would with dialogue. You gotta make sure you hit it on that frame, or else it won't look correct. Now something like this is a director that is giving you a little more freedom. Some directors will tell you exactly how many beats there are in the character jumping up and down. The other question I had was, why do I circle some of these drawings? Let me bring this back in, zoom in. The reason that you'll see X sheets and the animator has circled some of the drawings is because it represents the animator's keyframes. Now, this has nothing to do with the camera department. Who that is informing are your assistants. If she or he sees that this drawing 1 is circled and then drawing 4 is circled, they'll know that these drawings are the key drawings. Don't get too caught up in that right now as far as understanding this, but that's what it means. It just means that that's the key drawing. This is the key drawing. You know, let's say it was every key drawing was every 4th one or 3rd one. And so when we look here, we can see C1 is circled, C4, C7, C10, C13, 16, 19. That's just the keys that I had made for this particular scene. And then I put on the charts. You can check out Understanding Charts video, and it's indicated on the drawings for the assistant to know exactly where the in-betweens are going to fall. Now let's say that when I went the walk, I'd circled this, but the next key drawing was down there. It doesn't always mean that there's going to be 2 drawings in between. It can change. It could be 1 drawing, it could be 10. So it comes there, and then let's say I circled this one, and then I put in this one, and I'm just randomly choosing these right now. All that means is these were the key drawings that I created, and then I put on the charts like I've shown you. I'll just do a quick demo. We'll say C19, this one right there, to C23. These will be circled on my drawings with my character over here somewhere. And I had created a chart that was a very, let's just make it a real simple chart. And it just came in like this. Like I said, check out the understanding charts. And I made C, we're on twos here. You'll notice there's a blank in between there. And then I made this C 21. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed up there. I apologize. 27. That's this drawing. I thought it was a 3. Couldn't even read my own writing. Okay, so let's get back to it. And then here's C23, then C25. And what that indicates here is, again, the loops will indicate the placement of the drawings right there, and that will be the placement of the drawings. C19, C27, I hand them over to the assistant. They will put in directly in between C23 and then C21. Because of the charts, is going to be favoring 19. C25 is going to be favoring C27. Now, one side note real quick. I might do this drawing, C23, which is this one right there. I'm not going to circle it because it's not the key. Everyone's got a little bit their own way of working. I'm not going to circle it, but when the assistant gets the scene, they'll see that I did do that drawing and I underlined it, and that is what is, you can call it a breakdown. And then they'll just finish it off with C21 or C25. So that's a little side note just about what it means on the exposure sheet when you guys are looking at it. The main thing I want you to remember is, if you so choose, put in all the numbers, odd numbers, all the way through whatever length your scene is, and then you do your animation, and then you're going to come in and there's all the drawings. I did all these drawings down here. These are all on ones right here. These are on twos again, and right here I just put in the all the drawings that I did. Now, one more thing. Now what to also understand is, when I write in all the numbers right there, that means pretty much that I've done all of these drawings. Another approach, if you see X sheets and you have a blank and you have in here, we'll just take that section again, and this is what I would do. I would usually do it in the blue, and I'd come back in and I would put in blue C21, C25, and we're just going to look at this section, just that section, but you do it throughout your entire scene if you so choose. And I did do C19, C23, C27. I left C21 and 5 to the assistant, and I put it in blue just to let them know that's what's got to be done. This is just my method. And then after the assistant is done, they'll come in and they'll just go over the blue with graphite and fill it in. That way there's no confusion for the cameraman. keep writing me comments, please, if you have any questions about the X sheet. I know that it gets confusing at times. I take it for granted because I've been at it for a while, and but I remember when I was first learning it, it was pretty confusing. So leave me a comment. Let me know other aspects of the exposure sheet that isn't perfectly clear for you. All right. Bye bye.